Hey everyone. So in this Ask Trev segment, I wanted to go over how to avoid startup burnout. I'm seeing a lot of comments about, how to manage your new passion, or you're just getting into entrepreneurship and you're finding that the workload is actually much more significant than your typical 9 to 5 job. And that is typically the case. If you're looking for an easy job, entrepreneurship isn't really the case. I mean, you're essentially working random hours, you're answering potential customer requests at late hours into the night, and you're getting your name out there, you're marketing yourself, and there's no real time attached to it, especially if you're looking to grow. The amount of effort you put into your business will result in the amount of success. And then also the amount of work you put into yourself and how you learn and coach yourself, as well as, trying to figure out what you need to know in order to grow your business. It's definitely something that takes up a lot of time. So I've seen a lot of questions around, the concept of really trying to push your name out there and selling hard. And I wanted to give you a few tips to help you continue on as an entrepreneur and not feel run down at the end of the day, because you have to wake up for the next day and then be energized. So I think it's critical that you have the energy. So I want to go through some tips that can really help you and keep you energized. So, number one would be sleep. If you're not getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep, it's going to be very difficult. And for entrepreneurs, you almost need more sleep, because you're really exhausted at the end of the day. And to have a good quality sleep is critical so that you can wake up next morning and be energized, because it's more important to have several hours of quality production rather than, 10 hours of, just mediocre production. So sleep can really help energize you and ensure that you're ready to go for the next day. Another tip would be nutrition. So nutrition is paramount for energy. There's plenty of blogs out there that talk about diet nutrition. They know more about this than I do, but I can tell you the basics. Your vegetables are critical. Fruit is important. You need your protein. Taking whatever natural supplements to ensure that you're energized throughout the day is critical. And, nutrition is it's 75% of it. The other 25% is exercise, right? So doing some sort of physical activity each day is critical. So if you're like a startup founder or you're an entrepreneur, even a 7-minute exercise or some sort of small, quick exercise in the morning will help you get energized. Do something that you enjoy so that you'll stick with it. Sticking with it is probably the biggest challenge. So talk about different exercises. I would say, yoga is a nice one. You can easily YouTube a nice yoga video and get started with that. So I would consider, doing a 15-minute yoga routine, or if you're into weightlifting, change up your routine and have different types of workouts to vary up the routine. And that's really critical. I know Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter, he does a 7-minute workout every single day, and he times that by 3. So he goes and he does 3 sets of this 7-minute routine. And I think there's an article on the New York Times that discusses more about this routine and his kind of daily morning routine to ensure that he's energized throughout the day. But there's plenty of examples of successful people that have fantastic morning routines. Fact is the most successful people do have morning routines. And, it really depends on what works for you, right? And figuring out what routine could really help push you and accelerate your success. without bogging you down, without burning you out. The intent here is to not burn you out, but with exercise, you can actually get energized, right? It's a nice energy tool. Another piece is passion. So if you are passionate, like this community, we're about passionate entrepreneurship. Well, if you are a passionate entrepreneur, that's going to help you throughout the day. It's going to help you get through the difficult times. So passionate entrepreneurship is really important. So, how do you have that passion? Well, it's by doing things that you're interested in. So if you're running this business, why are you doing it? There must be a reason why. There must be some sort of interest, and that's why you're doing it. And that's where the passion will kind of help breed this energy that you wouldn't have otherwise. If you're not passionate, you won't have the energy to pursue this business. So you need to have that passion and ensure that it's continually strong. And to ensure your passion is continually strong, continually growing, you need to have goals. You need to be looking at your goals, and you need to be ensuring that you're on the right track with these goals. Something that leads into passion overall is the overarching theme, which is purpose. So, finding that why. Why are you doing this? Why are you in this business? Why did you choose not to work 9 to 5? Well, you're looking to create some sort of a future for yourself. Initially, that's going to perhaps create some possibilities of burnout, but if you have that purpose in mind and you're focused on it, then all the difficulties, all the stresses won't affect you as much. So it's having that clear vision, right? If you have the clear vision of what you want to achieve and you have your purpose in your mindset, then that's going to help you avoid burnout. Now, it's all fine and dandy if I'm talking about this, but I need to actually share experiences that indicate, hey, I've gone through this, I've gone through burnout, and now I can talk to it, right? So, going through university, I experienced burnout. It was quite a lot of stress, and it was full-time school and full-time work for 4 years straight. I never took a semester off, and I just went through it. Now, what got me through the school and the education was actually the determination to finish my education, to be ahead of the game, to be ahead of everyone else, and to have a business background where I could build things, build products. Because after I finished school, I started my own business. So I wanted to get to that point. So I had a clear focus, and it was business, it was marketing. This is what I wanted to do. And I stuck with it for 4 years. So the stresses, such as exams and studying, that would typically affect quite a few people. And I certainly had anxiety around it. It definitely affected me, but having that clear vision of what I wanted to accomplish, that helped me get over this hump of the stresses that school brings you, right? So if you're a young entrepreneur, this is something that's important, because maybe you're 17, maybe you're 21, or maybe you're in the middle of figuring out what path you want to go into. Well, there's going to be burnout in your future years, right? If you're going to go through school, it's going to be difficult unless you take one course a semester and you don't really challenge yourself. But I encourage you to put yourself in a state of discomfort so that you can handle the stresses, right? Your body needs to be stressed so that you can handle future complications such as business challenges and whatnot. So you want to be able to handle that burnout. So that's one of the experiences, though, is going through university or going through the process of building a business. You're going to go through these stresses, and how you handle it is going to make you stronger. So that's one of the pieces in terms of my experience. And then, I got into the corporate world as well because I wanted to see what that was all about. So I went into a corporate marketing gig for over 2.5 years, and I learned the process of handling things outside of my comfort zone, such as running meetings, such as leadership, such as learning things that I didn't know about before. So we're talking about things like, project management, leading teams. I know I did a little bit of that in university, but I never really had a full-on team that I was responsible for. And, I had this as part of my corporate gig. And figuring it out and trying to coach people as well. I wanted to ensure that people below me, I didn't really consider them below me. I kind of considered everyone my equals, but people that were maybe further behind in their careers, I wanted to help move them along, and that was really important for me. So, there's kind of like the stress involved with trying to manage a lot of different people, right? And maybe you have a business and you're managing a lot of people, and that's a stress in itself. Well, it's, part of it is delegating, right? If you can delegate what you know, if you can train people so they can handle what you know, then that's excellent. And I'm actually not that great at delegation. I don't like to delegate, but I realized after year 2 that I was burning myself out because I was taking up way too much in terms of projects and not teaching others what I was learning. And that's what you need to do, is you need to teach others as you go along. You need to offload what you know so you can handle more responsibilities and newer projects and newer challenges. But if what you're doing is you're taking more and more on, but you're not delegating, or you're not outsourcing, or you're not giving the responsibility to somebody else, what's happening is you're just taking more and more work for yourself, and you're not actually really learning anything because you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. But you could have by now given that responsibility over to someone else so you can learn something new, which as a result actually breeds more excitement for you. Because if you can free up your time to do more exciting things, you get energized, you get passionate about this new task that you're now assigned to do. And you regain that energy and the momentum and whatnot. But typically with burnout, it's because we're doing too much. We're trying to do too much, and essentially there's only 24 hours in a day. So you have to think a little smarter in terms of how you can give that responsibility up. And that's the challenge, is you're attached to something, you don't want to give it up. But the best thing you can do is teach others. People want to learn. They want to know how you got to where you are. So if you can teach others, that's going to help you out. Corporate world, I know there's a lot of, flack around the corporate world, but if you can look at it and say, wow, there's some really exciting learning experiences that come of it, then you can take that and that'll help you out when you go through your entrepreneur journey. So, you have to look at those processes of trying to navigate in the corporate world. And I think it's really valuable in your life to understand how to manage these different projects, manage the burnout. But anyways, those are some of my experiences related to entrepreneurship and burnout and just, life experiences. And it doesn't matter where you are. If you're a hobbyist and you've got a lot of stuff on the go, you have quite a large schedule, I think what you can do is start looking at your schedule and saying, hey, what are some of the things I can delegate or remove, right? Sometimes saying no is actually the best thing that you can do. And if you say no, then you can focus on the things that will generate the most results for you and that can help the most people. If you're burnt out, you're not helping anyone because you're not running at your best, and you don't want to be burnt out. If you are, then you can't produce and you can't give the best of yourself. So you need to be fresh, you need to be energized. And I think the tips that I shared here, if they're not part of your routine or they're not as optimized as they could be, then those are some things that you can start working on, and it will help you to be better, and then it will help you to provide value for others. And that's what entrepreneurship really is about, is being able to provide value, tremendous value to others without any expectation in return. That's what's going to generate wealth for you, is creating this value. And if you're burnt out, it's very difficult to be producing consistent quality value. So that's it. I'm going to wrap up this segment. Thanks everyone for tuning in.